Commander Alexis Reed floated in the observation module of the International Space Station, her dark eyes fixed on the lunar surface. The moon hung there, familiar, constant, unchanged for billions of years. Her weekly video call with her daughter had just ended, another precious connection across the void. "Commander, we're picking up unusual energy signatures approaching from beyond Mars." Lieutenant Patel's voice crackled through her comm unit. "Probably another asteroid. Track it and." The sensors screamed to life. Not one signature. Hundreds. Reed pushed herself toward the main viewport as iridescent shapes emerged from the darkness. Crystalline vessels that reflected starlight in impossible patterns. They moved with precision that defied human engineering, arranging themselves in a perfect geometric formation around the moon. "My God," whispered Dr. Chen beside her. "They're not ours." Reed grabbed the station-wide comm. "All personnel to emergency stations. This is not a drill." The alien vessels pulsed with energy, blues and purples that had no place in humanity's technological spectrum. No communication attempts, no signals, no warning. Just silence across all frequencies as humanity collectively held its breath. The first beam struck the lunar surface near the Sea of Tranquility, where humans had first stepped onto another world. The energy penetrated deep, creating fissures that spread like lightning across the gray landscape. More beams followed in a precise pattern. "They're targeting fault lines," Dr. Chen shouted, his hands flying across monitoring equipment. "The structural integrity is." Reed never heard the end of his sentence. The moon's surface buckled, enormous pieces lifting upward as if in slow motion. For one impossible moment, Earth's satellite seemed to hover in fragmented pieces, a suspended puzzle in space. Then it shattered. The shockwave hit the station first, a tsunami of debris and radiation that sent them spinning. Emergency klaxons wailed as Reed grabbed a support beam, watching in horror as lunar fragments spread outward in a deadly cloud. The station's shields took hit after hit, each impact threatening to breach the hull. "Stabilizers offline. We're venting atmosphere in modules 3 and 7, someone shouted. Reed pulled herself hand over hand to the command console. "Seal all compartments. Get everyone to the escape pods." Through the viewport, she could see Earth below, beautiful, vulnerable, unaware of what was coming. The planet's night side had been bathed in silver moonlight moments before. Now darkness reigned, punctuated only by the glow of cities that had no idea their world had fundamentally changed. Already, the larger fragments were being caught in Earth's gravity well. Fiery streaks appeared in the atmosphere as the first pieces began their descent. "Houston, do you copy?" Reed shouted into the comm. "Evacuate coastal regions immediately. Incoming lunar debris will cause unprecedented tidal effects when it hits the oceans." Static answered her. The communications array must have been damaged in the initial shockwave. The station lurched again as a basketball-sized fragment punched through the solar array. Reed's training took over as she helped injured crew toward the Soyuz escape capsules. Through it all, her eyes kept returning to the viewports, watching as the alien fleet regrouped, their mission apparently complete. They hadn't even approached Earth. They'd simply destroyed the moon and prepared to leave. As Reed strapped herself into the last escape pod, a final transmission broke through the static from Earth. "ISS, this is Houston. Global emergency declared. All surviving orbital personnel ordered to return for immediate military consultation." Reed's jaw tightened as she initiated the launch sequence. Below, she could already see massive tsunamis forming as the first major fragments struck the Atlantic. Humanity would need more than consultation to survive this. They would need vengeance. 6 months after the shattering, Earth had become nearly unrecognizable. General Alexis Reed, promoted after the emergency military restructuring, stood at the window of the Denver Command Center, one of the few inland military installations that remained fully operational. The sky outside had a perpetual rusty hue from lunar dust, still suspended in the upper atmosphere. Coastal cities lay abandoned, repeatedly ravaged by erratic tidal patterns that no longer followed any moon-driven cycle. "Daily casualty report, General," said Colonel Yamamoto, sliding a tablet across the conference table. Reed didn't reach for it. She'd stopped looking at the numbers weeks ago. Billions dead or displaced. Civilization clinging to existence in the mid-continental regions. What good did precise figures do now? "Tell me about the Sahara site instead," she said. Yamamoto's expression shifted from grim to something almost resembling hope. "Dr. Cheng is waiting to brief you." The holographic display flickered to life, showing a gaunt-faced Victor Cheng. Once the ISS's resident physicist, now head of Earth's desperate scientific counteroffensive. "We've confirmed it, General," Cheng said without preamble. "The scout ship is intact enough to analyze their propulsion system." Reed leaned forward. "And? They use quantum resonance technology, essentially folding space rather than traveling through it. That's how they appeared so suddenly." Cheng's eyes had the feverish look of someone who hadn't slept properly in months. "More importantly, we've deciphered their navigational logs. We know where they came from." A star map materialized beside Cheng's face, a system highlighted approximately 22 light-years from Earth. "That's their home system?" Reed asked. "Yes, and we can reach it." Cheng's voice trembled slightly. "Their quantum tech can be adapted to our remaining fusion engines." Colonel Yamamoto stood straighter. "You're suggesting we build ships? Attack vessels? We can't do this defensively," Reed said quietly. "They didn't communicate. They didn't demand anything. They just destroyed our moon and left." She turned to face the room filled with Earth's remaining military leadership. "We have no way to know if they're coming back to finish the job. Every remaining nuclear stockpile can be repurposed," Dr. Cheng continued. "We estimate 5 vessels could be constructed within 8 months. Reed stared at the star map. "The question is, will that be soon enough?" The room fell silent until General Orlova of the former Russian Federation spoke. "How do you propose to power these ships, Dr. Cheng?" "Global energy infrastructure is at 20% capacity at best." "We've discovered something else," Cheng replied. "The aliens left a radiation signature, some kind of exhaust from their engines. It's unique, traceable, and," he paused, "harvestable. We can use their own technology against them." Reed absorbed this information, feeling the first stirrings of genuine hope since watching the moon shatter before her eyes. "Project Nemesis," she said finally. "That's what we'll call it." Yamamoto raised an eyebrow. "After the Greek goddess of retribution." "Precisely." Reed straightened her uniform. "I'll need our best pilots, engineers, and soldiers, and I'll be commanding the lead vessel myself." "With respect, General," Orlova interjected, "you're too valuable to risk on what could be a suicide mission." Reed's gaze hardened. "I watched our moon die. I saw the first tsunamis form from orbit. There's not a person on this planet more motivated to see this through." She turned back to the star map. "Besides, none of us are particularly valuable anymore. We're just what's left." The room fell silent again, the gravity of her words sinking in. "Begin construction immediately," Reed ordered. "Humanity hasn't come this far to disappear without a fight." As the others filed out, Reed remained, staring at the alien home system glowing on the display. For the first time since the shattering, her purpose was crystalline clear. They had annihilated Earth's moon. She would destroy their entire world. The 5 warships of Project Nemesis stood ready in Earth's upper atmosphere, glistening obsidian against the perpetually dust-choked sky. Each vessel bore the name of an ancient deity of vengeance. Nemesis, Kali, Sekhmet, Hel, and Erinyes. From her command chair on the lead ship, General Reed watched the final preparations through the view screen. "All vessels reporting ready, General," Lieutenant Commander Jackson announced from the tactical station. "Final personnel transfers complete." Reed nodded. Earth had given everything for this mission. Its remaining nuclear arsenal, rare metals stripped from abandoned cities, and most precious of all, its finest minds and soldiers. 2,000 souls embarked on humanity's first and possibly last interstellar mission. Open fleet-wide communications, Reed ordered. When the channel opened, she stood, facing the camera that would transmit her image to every ship. This is General Reed. In 1 hour, we depart on the longest journey humanity has ever undertaken. Our mission is clear. We find the species that destroyed our moon, and we ensure they can never threaten Earth again. She paused, looking at the faces of her bridge crew, men and women who had lost everything in the shattering. I won't lie to you. The quantum drive is experimental. Our weapons are untested against their technology. Our chances of return are... She left the sentence unfinished. Everyone knew. But Earth cannot wait. Our world is dying. If they return, humanity ends. Not on my watch. A chime interrupted her speech. Dr. Maya Okafor, the brilliant Nigerian physicist who had reverse-engineered the alien quantum technology, requested entry to the bridge. Permission granted, Reed said. Okafor strode onto the bridge, her dark eyes intense with excitement. General, I've made a breakthrough with the resonance technology. Reed gestured her toward the science station. Explain. The alien ships didn't just destroy our moon. They fragmented it using precise harmonic resonances, Okafor said, pulling up schematics on the main screen. I've been analyzing the radiation signature from their engines. The same technology that powers their drives can be weaponized. A murmur went through the bridge crew as the implications became clear. You're saying we could do to their planet what they did to our moon? Asked Commander Petrov, the Russian officer serving as Reed's second-in-command. Potentially more devastating, Okafor confirmed. Their homeworld appears to be primarily crystalline in composition, based on spectral analysis. It would be particularly vulnerable to harmonic disruption. Reed studied the schematics. How long to adapt our weapon systems? The journey will take 11 months at maximum quantum efficiency, Okafor replied. I can have the modifications complete well before arrival. Reed nodded, a grim satisfaction settling over her. Make it your priority. As preparations continued, Reed found Petrov at a viewport, staring at the ruined Earth below. You had family in St. Petersburg, she asked quietly. Petrov's face remained impassive, wife and daughter. The North Sea tsunami reached inland further than predicted. His accent thickened with emotion. And you? Daughter in San Diego. Reed's voice held steady. We lost contact after the third tsunami wave. They stood in silence, two commanders from former rival nations, united now by shared loss. We were enemies once, Petrov finally said. Seems trivial now, Reed replied. Petrov turned to face her. You understand, we cannot fail. We won't, Reed said with quiet conviction. Pre-launch sequence initiates in 20 minutes. I need my best commander ready. As Petrov returned to his station, Reed watched as Earth's fractured atmosphere glowed with the first hint of sunrise. It would be the last earthly dawn any of them would see. All stations, she called out. Begin pre-launch countdown. Project Nemesis launches in T-minus 20 minutes. The Vengeance fleet prepared to carry humanity's fury to the stars. Quantum transition complete. All ships present and accounted for. General Reed unclenched her hands from the command chair's armrests as reality stabilized around them. The Nemesis fleet had just completed its final jump, emerging at the edge of the alien system. 11 months of interstellar travel had taken their toll. Equipment failures, psychological strain, and the haunting knowledge that Earth continued to deteriorate in their absence. Status report, Reed ordered, her voice steady despite the tension gripping the bridge. Sensors detecting significant activity near the fourth planetary body, Lieutenant Kwan reported. Appears to be a mining operation or outpost. The view screen shifted, revealing a crystalline world surrounded by structures similar to the ships that had destroyed Earth's moon. Vessels moved between the planet and a massive orbital installation. Life signs? Reed asked. Confirmed. Dr. Okafor replied from the science station. Same signature as the scout ship we examined on Earth. Reed exchanged glances with Commander Petrov. Their intel was correct. These were the same beings. All ships maintain stealth protocols. Reed ordered through the fleet channel. Kali and Sekhmet, establish flanking positions. Hel and Aranes, prepare for tactical support. Nemesis will initiate primary contact. The bridge fell silent as the gravity of the moment settled over them. Humanity's first offensive action against an extraterrestrial civilization. Weapons status. Reed asked quietly. Dr. Okafor's resonance cannons are online, Petrov confirmed. Conventional armaments ready. Reed took a deep breath. Target the main orbital facility. Fire when ready. The resonance cannons charged with a rising hum that seemed to vibrate through the ship itself. When they fired, there was no dramatic beam or explosion, just a ripple of distortion that struck the alien installation. For a moment, nothing happened. Then the structure began to vibrate, its crystalline components resonating at increasing frequency until fissures appeared along its surface. Within seconds, the entire installation shattered into fragments, just as Earth's moon had done nearly 2 years earlier. Direct hit, Quan reported, unable to keep the satisfaction from his voice. 98% destruction. Reed allowed herself no reaction. Prepare boarding teams. I want that mining facility secured and any intelligence extracted before they can alert their homeworld. Within an hour, Earth's forces had secured the outpost. The aliens, now identified from their own records as the Vitheri, had been caught completely unprepared. Those who hadn't perished in the initial attack surrendered quickly. Reed strode through the captured command center where Dr. Okafor was already interfacing with alien systems. What have you found? Reed asked. Okafor's expression was troubled. Their communications archive. It's disturbing. She pointed to translated text scrolling across her tablet. The moon destruction wasn't random. It's some kind of ritual declaration of dominance. They knew exactly what they were doing, Reed said grimly. Worse than that. Okafor pulled up a galactic map. Earth wasn't their first target. I'm finding records of at least 7 other civilizations they've attacked in the same way. Reed studied the map, noting the systematic pattern of expansion, each marked with a date of lunar separation, as the Vitheri termed it. Their entire cultural hierarchy is built on this practice, Okafor continued. A species proves its supremacy by destroying the natural satellite of any world with intelligent life. Commander Petrov joined them, his face hardening as Okafor explained her findings. So they knew precisely what would happen to Earth, he said. The tsunamis, the climate disruption, all of it. They knew, Reed confirmed. And they'd done it before. She turned to her officers, her resolve solidified into something cold and absolute. Prepare the fleet. We're proceeding to the Vitheri homeworld immediately. Her eyes reflected the starlight from the viewport. They've had their first contact ritual. It's time they experienced ours. Unknown vessels approaching from Sector 7. The alert jarred General Reed from her tactical planning session. The Nemesis fleet had been hiding in an asteroid field for 3 days, analyzing the intelligence gathered from the mining outpost while preparing for their final approach to the Vitheri homeworld. Battle stations, Reed ordered instantly. All ships, defensive formation. The view screen showed 5 vessels approaching, sleek, organic shapes unlike the crystalline architecture of the Vitheri. They moved with deliberate precision, maintaining a non-threatening distance. They're broadcasting on multiple frequencies, Lieutenant Quan reported. Attempting translation. They know we're here, Petrov muttered. Stealth systems must have failed. Dr. Okafor shook her head. Or they have technology specifically designed to detect our presence. The translation matrix finally aligned, and a voice emerged through the static. Human vessels. We are Aradu. We observe your attack on Vitheri outpost. We propose alliance. Reed exchanged glances with her senior officers. Open a channel. When communications established, a humanoid figure appeared on screen. Its skin had a bluish tint, with intricate patterns that seemed to pulse with bioluminescence. 4 eyes arranged in a diamond pattern studied them intently. "I am General Alexis Reed of Earth," she said. "How do you know we're human?" "We monitor Cathari communications," the alien replied. "They speak of Earth attack on mining facility. We have waited many cycles for others to fight back." Understanding dawned. "You're survivors of another Cathari attack," Reed stated. The alien, who introduced himself as Sentinel Cora, nodded in a surprisingly human gesture. "Our moon was shattered 18 cycles ago. Our world, like yours, suffers. The bioluminescent patterns darkened. Most of our people perished. We few remain, hiding, watching, surviving." Within hours, representatives from the Eridu had boarded the Nemesis for a summit. Their intelligence on Cathari defenses proved invaluable. The Homeworld was protected by a vast network of automated defense platforms. "Their fleet is formidable," Sentinel Cora explained, manipulating a holographic display. "But we have developed technology to mask our energy signatures." "Stealth technology," Petrov clarified. "Yes, we can adapt to your vessels." Cora's 4 eyes blinked in sequence. "But we lack offensive capabilities to strike effectively." "That's where we come in," Reed said, gesturing to Dr. Okafor. "We've weaponized their own resonance technology." As the tactical planning continued, Dr. Okafor pulled Reed aside. "General, something strange has been happening," she said quietly. "Since we entered this system, I've been experiencing dreams." Reed frowned. "Dreams? Alien landscapes, crystalline structures, and voices, many voices speaking as one." Okafor's hands trembled slightly. "At first I thought it was stress, but after studying the Cathari biology from the outpost data, they have a collective consciousness, a hive mind." "You think you're connecting to it somehow?" Reed asked, concern evident. "The resonance technology we've been working with, it operates on frequencies similar to neural patterns." Okafor's eyes met Reed's. "I believe I'm picking up echoes of their communication network." Reed considered the implications. "Can you control it? Direct it?" "Possibly. And if I can." Okafor didn't need to finish the thought. "The vulnerability," Reed concluded, "one they won't be expecting." As the Eridu engineers began modifying the human fleet with their stealth systems, Reed gathered her commanders. "We have one shot at this," she told them, studying the Cathari homeworld displayed on the tactical screen. "The Eridu provide the approach, we provide the punch." Sentinel Cora joined them, his patterns glowing with determined intensity. "Together, we will end their reign of destruction." That night, as preparations continued, Dr. Okafor woke violently from her sleep, gasping for air. "They know," she whispered to the empty room. "The Queen is aware of me." Stealth systems operating at maximum efficiency, Lieutenant Quan reported as the combined human Eridu fleet approached the outer defense perimeter of the Cathari homeworld. "No indication they've detected us yet." General Reed studied the tactical display. The crystalline planet glowed with an unnatural blue-white luminescence, surrounded by a network of defense platforms and patrol vessels that seemed to outnumber the stars themselves. "Dr. Okafor, status?" Reed inquired, noting the physicist's drawn expression. Since revealing her connection to the Cathari hive mind, Okafor had been fitted with neural dampeners to prevent complete psychic infiltration while maintaining enough connection to provide tactical advantage. "The collective is agitated," Okafor said, her voice strained. "They're searching, but not systematically. They sense something, but they don't know what." "Can you determine if the mining outpost sent a warning before we destroyed it?" Petrov asked. Okafor closed her eyes, concentrating. No clear warning reached them, but they've noticed the outpost's silence. Defense posture is elevated, but not at maximum. Reed nodded, then opened a channel to the fleet. "All vessels, prepare for Phase 1 of Operation Trojan Horse." The plan was desperate but sound. 2 ships, Kali and Hel, would deliberately reveal themselves, drawing Cathuri forces away from a specific section of the defense grid. Meanwhile, Nemesis, Sekhmet, and Erinyes, along with the Eriadu vessels, would slit through the gap. "Decoy vessels, you are clear to disengage stealth systems," Reed ordered, her voice betraying none of the emotion she felt at essentially sacrificing 2 of her ships and their crews. On the view screen, they watched as Kali and Hel dropped their invisibility and powered weapon systems. The reaction from the Cathuri was immediate and overwhelming. Defense platforms rotated, and patrol vessels accelerated toward the perceived threat. "Massive enemy movement toward Sector 4, Quan reported. "Defenses thinning in Sector 7 as predicted." Reed exchanged a nod with Petrov. "Remaining vessels, proceed to infiltration point. Maintain radio silence until inside planetary orbit." For an agonizing 30 minutes, they watched as Kali and Hel engaged in a brilliant tactical retreat, drawing more and more of Cathuri ships away from their position. The 2 human vessels were outnumbered 10-1, yet their superior maneuverability and unpredictable attack patterns kept them intact far longer than anyone had expected. "Captain Chen is performing admirably," Petrov commented, watching Kali execute a particularly daring evasive maneuver. "They all are," Reed replied quietly. As Nemesis approached the predetermined entry point, the unthinkable happened. Alarms blared across the bridge. "Energy surge detected," Quan shouted. "They've activated some kind of sensor web." "Evasive action," Reed ordered, but it was too late. A blinding beam of energy lanced out from the nearest defense platform, striking the Eriadu vessel flanking their starboard side. The alien ship disintegrated instantly. "Stealth compromised," Petrov confirmed grimly. "All ships detected." Reed made a split-second decision. "All vessels, abandon stealth protocols. Full offensive engagement. We punch through now." The remaining ships surged forward, weapons blazing. The resonance cannons proved devastatingly effective against the crystalline Cathuri technology, shattering defense platforms with each direct hit. On the tactical display, Reed watched as Hel's signal winked out, overwhelmed by enemy fire. Moments later, Commander Petrov's console erupted in sparks as a direct hit rocked the Nemesis. "Hull breach on decks 4-7, someone shouted. Petrov dragged himself back to his station, blood streaming from a gash on his forehead. "We can't take another hit like that." Reed watched as the remaining vessels fought desperately toward the planet. They were so close. "Nemesis has sustained critical damage," Petrov reported. "Engine core destabilizing." Their eyes met across the smoke-filled bridge, and understanding passed between them. "Get to the escape shuttle," Petrov said quietly. "I'll ensure you reach the surface." Reed started to protest, but Petrov cut her off. "The mission, Alexis. Earth needs vengeance more than it needs either of us." As Nemesis began to break apart around them, Reed gave the hardest order of her career. "Prepare for emergency evacuation. All essential personnel to surface landing craft." She gripped Petrov's shoulder. "Make it count, Commander." "For Earth," he replied simply. General Reed watched through the viewport of the landing craft as the Nemesis executed its final maneuver. Commander Petrov had turned the dying vessel directly into the path of the Cathuri flagship, the resonance drive deliberately destabilized. The resulting explosion tore a hole in the enemy fleet, creating the window they needed to reach the surface. "His sacrifice will not be wasted," Sentinel Cora said quietly beside her. The shuttle shuddered as it entered the crystalline planet's atmosphere. Only 2 vessels had made it this far, their shuttle and 1 Eriadu ship. Of Earth's mighty vengeance fleet, only Sekhmet remained in orbit, heavily damaged, but providing what cover it could. "Final approach to the central hive complex," the pilot announced. "Minimal air defense detected." They never expected anyone to get this far. Reed turned to the strike team assembled in the shuttle's hold. 20 humans and 6 Eriadu, armed with resonance weapons and carrying the device that represented humanity's last hope. "Our mission is clear," she told them. "Dr. Okafor will guide us to the Queen's chamber. We plant the resonance device at the exact coordinates, and we extract. Sekhmet will retrieve us if we reach the designated evacuation point within the time window." No one mentioned the obvious. The chances of reaching that extraction point were vanishingly small. The landing was rough but successful. They emerged into an alien landscape of towering crystalline spires that seemed to sing with an otherworldly harmony. The very ground beneath their feet pulsed with energy. "This way," Dr. Okafor said, her eyes unfocused as she navigated using her connection to the hive mind. "The central complex is 2 kilometers north." They encountered surprisingly little resistance at first. The Vkatheri, so confident in their orbital defenses, had never prepared for a ground assault on their homeworld. The few crystalline warriors they encountered were dispatched efficiently with resonance weapons that shattered their bodies like glass. "They're becoming aware of our presence," Okafor warned as they approached a massive structure that dominated the skyline. "The Queen is rallying her guardians." As if summoned by her words, crystal formations ahead of them shifted and rose, taking humanoid forms that moved with lethal grace. The strike team took cover as energy blasts superheated the air around them. "We need to split up," Reed decided quickly. "Cora, take half the team and create a diversion. Dr. Okafor, and I will proceed with the device." The Eridu Sentinel nodded, gathering his forces while Reed's group prepared to make a dash for the central spire. "When we're inside," Okafor said urgently, "you need to know something. The Vkatheri, they don't just destroy moons as a dominance ritual. They feed on them." Reed stared at her. "What?" "The gravitational energy released during a lunar destruction. They harvest it. It's how they power their civilization." Okafor's face twisted with disgust. Earth's moon wasn't a target of aggression. It was a meal. Before Reed could fully process this revelation, the diversion team launched their attack. In the chaos that followed, Reed, Okafor, and 3 soldiers fought their way into the central hive structure. The interior was a cathedral of crystal, pulsing with blue-white energy that flowed through channels like a cardiovascular system. At its heart, suspended in a lattice of pure energy, hovered a massive crystalline entity, the Vkatheri Queen. "Plant the device," Reed ordered, as they secured the chamber. As Dr. Okafor prepared the resonance bomb, the Queen's consciousness crashed into her mind. "Your species is primitive, but resourceful," a voice reverberated in Okafor's head. "We could use minds like yours. Join us. Help us find more worlds to harvest." Okafor's hands trembled on the device controls. "She's offering us a deal," she whispered to Reed. "Earth's survival in exchange for helping them find more moons to consume." Reed's expression hardened. "Tell her humanity doesn't negotiate with predators. Tell her humanity doesn't negotiate with predators." General Reed's words hung in the crystalline chamber as Dr. Okafor's hand steadied on the resonance device. The Vkatheri Queen pulsed with angry light, her consciousness hammering against Okafor's mental barriers. "You would condemn your species to extinction." The Queen's voice reverberated through Okafor's mind. "We offer salvation." "We don't want your kind of salvation," Okafor replied aloud, adjusting the final settings on the device. "Humanity would rather die standing than survive by feeding on others." The chamber shuddered as crystalline warriors converged on their position. The 3 soldiers with them took defensive positions at the entrances, resonance weapons firing in controlled bursts that shattered each attacker into glittering fragments. "Devices armed," Okafor announced. 10 minutes until full resonance cascade." Reed nodded. "Extraction team, what's your status?" Static answered her. Then Sentinel Cora's strained voice broke through. "Heavy resistance at extraction point. Cannot hold position." Reed looked at her remaining team. The bitter truth was clear. There would be no extraction, no triumphant return to Earth. Their mission had always been one way. "Fall back to secondary positions," she ordered Cora. "Save who you can. And you, General. Reed glanced at the resonance device, now humming with increasing intensity. We'll complete the mission. The Queen's rage intensified, battering Okafor's mind with such force that blood trickled from her nose. You cannot imagine what you are doing, the alien consciousness hissed. Our kind shaped galaxies while yours still huddled in caves. Destroying us will not restore your moon, will not save your dying world. Maybe not, Reed replied, stepping between Okafor and the Queen's crystalline form. But it will ensure you never feed on another civilization again. The chamber doors exploded inward as elite Futhuri guards breached their perimeter. The 3 human soldiers fell in quick succession, their bodies crystallizing from alien energy weapons. 7 minutes to cascade, Okafor gasped, fighting to maintain consciousness under the Queen's psychic assault. Reed pulled her last resonance grenade, activating it with grim determination. Get behind me. The grenade detonated, sending harmonic waves through the chamber that momentarily disrupted the Queen's concentration. Okafor sagged in relief as the psychic pressure eased. We need to buy more time, Reed said, dragging Okafor toward a defensible alcove. The device needs to reach critical resonance. Outside the Queen's chamber, the battle for the Futhuri homeworld continued. In orbit, the Sekhmet had expended its last weapons to destroy a final wave of attackers. On the surface, the few surviving members of the strike team fought a desperate holding action. 5 minutes, Okafor whispered, her consciousness increasingly merged with the Futhuri hive mind. As the resonance built, through this connection, she witnessed the planet-wide panic spreading through the collective consciousness. They know what's coming. They can't stop it. The Queen made one final desperate gambit, offering images of Earth restored, a new satellite constructed to replace the moon, tidal patterns normalized, climate stabilized. They're lying, Okafor told Reed, her voice stronger now. They don't create. They only consume. Reed nodded, checking her weapons charge. How many worlds do you think? How many civilizations have they destroyed? Hundreds, Okafor replied, her eyes distant as she accessed the Queen's memories. Thousands, over millions of years. Then we ended here. The final 3 minutes passed in a blur of desperate combat. Reed fell, a crystalline shard embedded in her shoulder, but continued firing from her position on the chamber floor. Okafor maintained the resonance device's alignment, her consciousness now so intertwined with the hive mind that she could feel the building harmonic throughout the entire planet. 30 seconds, she announced, blood streaming from her eyes now. Reed dragged herself to Okafor's side, both women watching as the resonance device reached critical frequency. For Earth, Reed whispered. For all of them, Okafor added. The device activated with anticlimactic quietness. For one moment, nothing seemed to happen. Then, throughout the crystalline planet, a harmonic note began to build, pure, beautiful, and ultimately devastating. The Queen's scream tore through Okafor's mind as the first fissures appeared in the chamber walls. The sound grew, resonating through every crystal structure, every building, every Futhuri being. In orbit, the surviving Aradu vessel and the crippled Sekhmet witnessed the beginning of the end. Fissures spread across the planet's surface like cracks in glass, widening, deepening, reaching toward the core. Just as Earth's moon had shattered, the Futhuri homeworld began to break apart. The Queen's consciousness fragmented, her final thoughts broadcast to Okafor in desperate confusion. How could primitive beings like humans have brought down a civilization that had endured for millions of years? Okafor understood the answer as consciousness faded. The Futhuri had evolved to prey on others, to consume without consequence. Humanity, for all its flaws, had evolved to connect, to sacrifice, to value life beyond its utility. As the planet broke apart around them, Reed reached out and grasped Okafor's hand. There were no words needed. They had succeeded. Earth was avenged. The predators were stopped. In their final moments, both women thought of Earth, not as it was now, broken and struggling, but as it might be in centuries to come, a world rebuilding, remembering, learning from both humanity's greatest triumph and its terrible cost. They had annihilated Earth's moon. Humanity had destroyed their homeworld. The ledger was balanced, justice was served, and among the stars, the cycle of destruction had finally been broken.